All right, welcome back to the How to Relate podcast. I'm here with Austin Hatch. Hello.
Hello, Brittany. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm super excited to chat with you. I have never done this before where I'm on somebody else's show, so I feel nervous isn't the right word, but curious about how this will go and how it'll feel and what I'll think afterwards. So
Welcome to being in the reverse seat of this then.
thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Glad that this is your first too.
Yes, and nothing like starting out talking about what we discussed. We would talk about all things sex, pornography, shame, like all just the fun, easy, light topics for me to just ease into this world.
Yeah, exactly. This is more of a head first dive right in. You never swam before. We're taking on the high dive. Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I learn any different. Like it's just kind of like you're kind of forced to at that point. If you're gonna take the leap, you got to survive somehow. So we'll see how it goes.
True. Accurate. Yeah. Well, you and I chatted the first time around, and it was such a fun conversation. And you know Heather, your friend Heather Hyde, who was also on the podcast. Wonderful, wonderful human. And I'm so glad that we got connected through her too.
Yes, and I don't know if this is appropriate or not. It's Heidi. So she
Yes,
she's got two first names,
Heidi.
which
Yes,
yeah,
we
which
went
is
through this before too.
totally cool. She gets called that all the time. However, one of the odd things about our relationship is I never ever until probably in the last couple months thought of her last name as a first name. It like never like clicked in my head. I don't know if there's like a screw loose or something missing, but it took her telling me like I have two first names to me be like, oh yeah, you really do. But yeah, so I do a ton of work with Heather. She was actually my clinical supervisor for a long time, and now we're business partners. So I owe her a huge debt of gratitude in a lot of how I've learned and how I do this work. But she is an incredible therapist and clinician, and I'm learning a great business partner as well too. So that's fun.
It's nice
Yeah,
when it's a multifaceted relationship. It all works well.
it does. And I love change. Like it's cool that, we've kind of had to navigate different power dynamics in that as well, which is a lot of kind of what we do for a living is navigating unhealthy power dynamics. And so even to have that real life experience with her is something that's really helpful and informative to the work that I do with my clients as well.
It's almost like being a therapist is also like it translates into so many realms, business partnerships, like your family relationships, just all of it. It's just like transferable skills and whichever way you spin it.
And you say that, and I am immediately curious if my wife would concur with that statement sometimes. But I'll save that for a different conversation. One that would hopefully include her, not apart from her. But yes, I do think it can in healthy systems for sure. And I'm not opposed to using my therapy magic in times where maybe it's not as appropriate, but we're all human.
We are.
Yes.
And when we work with humans and we do all the real human stuff, it's hard not to. It's hard not to use our powers in all situations.
It is. I try to be as transparent as possible. And I think too, it's like this is what we do for a living. And so to just expect that it gets turned off, I don't think is realistic. So it is what it
Right.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like, I do think of this too. I think about, are we called? I think that we're almost called to the field in whatever esoteric way that happens. The field, in some ways, I think, chooses us as much as we choose it. Because it's like there's
Interesting.
something innate that a lot of, I think, therapists have, whether that's I'm always curious and observant in how the world is working or how people are operating or like what the dynamics are. And it's almost something that I feel like it's like innate. I don't know how to explain it, but it's hard to describe. But I do get that sense whenever I'm talking with therapists who are like really in the work and really
Mm-hmm.
doing it and like absorb it, that it's like there's something in there that I think we would get drawn to this.
I agree with you. I usually just call it magic because I don't have the words to articulate it. So I'll let my clients know sometimes like there is magic here. I don't know how to describe it to you, and I'm not going to try. But sometimes you just got to kind of trust that the magic will show up, and hopefully it does. So
For sure. Yeah. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because we're talking about things around like you're a certified sex addiction therapist.
Yes.
You're working with clients around shame, and you mentioned power dynamics and all these things. So when clients are coming to work with you, what are they saying? Like, hey, Austin, help me with this. What are they coming to you for?
I think one of the things that may be different about this type of work that other therapists don't experience is most of my clients and I work, excuse me, I work exclusively for the most part. I shouldn't say exclusively, but predominantly my individual work is with the individuals who would identify themselves as like the sex addict or the betrayer. They're the one that has caused all the harm. I don't know if I've had a client that has not come to me um, had it not been for a crisis, meaning they got caught typically.
Like infidelity got caught.
Infidelity got caught or their browser history got caught. Essentially their partner, their spouse, or someone in their kind of close circle, whether that be a family member. In this field, you'll often get people that reach out to you who have been arrested or have been caught in maybe like a sting operation, those types of things as well. I don't know if we need to go down that route for today, but for the most part, what we would call is the crisis. So my role, that first meeting, I know that I'm meeting with somebody who's in a crisis of their own making.
Yeah.
And that's day one is let me know about the crisis, how you see it. And then really what my role becomes is how can I blow it up as big as possible? Because we have to really get honest about how bad things are.
Do you find that people try to minimize how bad the crisis is?
Oh, minimization is a guaranteed. We three things. This will roll off my tongue really fast: minimization, rationalization, and justification. In other words, excuses. It is the language that addicts speak. This is something that I talk a lot about in my work: is the hidden language of addiction. And one way to identify that is anything that feels or looks or smells like a minimization, a rationalization, a justification is usually a good indication that you're trying to be swindled.
So when you're working with someone and maybe breaking those down, how does that go?
Well, what I'll tell you is I want to let clients know that I see them. Now, how I do that is really tactful and intentional, meaning like when I first started, I thought it was like a really effective skill to just like take my feet and kick through the front door, so to speak, and just be like, that's bullshit. And I didn't maybe not say it like that specifically, but just essentially call things out really aggressively. What I found is that probably that didn't work so hot. But kind of managing my tone and my energy, but also like holding space. Like I do understand, I do get what they're doing. It makes sense. It's just not personal. And I think a lot of that kicking down the front door was a lot of early therapists. You can take things really personally in a therapeutic room. But really shifting how I see my clients is I resemble something. I resemble a threat, really. I'm a threat to their secrets being exposed. And as much as they kind of want to get help, their default is to protect their image. And so I'm a threat to that. And so I understand that, and that kind of informs how I talk with them. I don't pull punches though. I'll just let them know what I see and what I hear and what I feel. What I really work on is how can I hand that back to them? Because they're trying to sell me something that I can buy in their stories. So how can I give them their stories back and let them know what they're doing doesn't make any sense to me, and kind of force them to have to really articulate and explain clearly so that I can understand. So sometimes I might play stupid. I might even say things like, why do I feel like you're not telling me the truth?
Mm.
Something feels off. And then I'll just sit there. And then that discomfort and tension has to percolate. Usually pretty quickly things come out and they recognize like this isn't going to be the person that I can swindle and lie to. It's not that I'm a human lie detector, but that's usually the approach that I take really early because I want to set a tone and a dynamic to let them know this is what you can expect of me. And this is what you're signing up for.
Right. That you're signing up to be challenged in a way that also sounds compassionate. I hear you with like the early on, like wanting to kick down the door, because I think that, I mean, and coming from a substance use addiction background, it was kind of like we're all here for the same reason, especially in group treatment. And it's like, all right, let's get really honest. Let's like, deep dive into it. And that kind of framework can work with maybe some people, but I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, their rapport building and that trust is like the essential piece to then be able to feel like I can expose more of myself to you, and you don't have to do as much of the investigative work around it. And I can now maybe
Yes.
share a bit more that feels uneasy but accessible.
I think where it gets really tricky or where it can be really difficult is how do you do that without aligning with that addict part? So if we're kind of use that
Mhm.
parts work analogy, if like let's say I'm dealing with this person in front of me and they have these multiple parts. One part is that addict. That's the part they want me to align with. So how do I hold compassion, but not align with that addict? And I think that can be really challenging for a lot of clinicians. So what I remind myself though is like, honesty is kind. Honesty is compassionate. It's uncomfortable for somebody in their position though. But just because they're uncomfortable doesn't necessarily mean I'm not being compassionate. It usually is a good indication that I'm moving in the right direction. And so I allow that to be my guide. Their discomfort level is a really helpful tool in the therapeutic room to be able to know you're going in a direction that's worth going to.
Yeah. Can I pitch something to you or run
Yeah.
something by? All right. So I've been thinking about this idea between honesty versus transparency.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that honesty has a genuine tone to it. It's that emotional exposure piece, I think, is in honesty versus transparency is, well, I told you I was using porn. Well, I told you that I was doing XYZ. And like, because I told you, therefore I'm being honest. And it's like, just
Mm-hmm.
because you're telling someone doesn't mean that they're in on the thing with you. It just means that, like, oh, you can't be upset. I'm going to deny your feelings around it because I told you. I told you what was happening. Therefore, can't get upset. Don't be upset with me.
Yes.
I'm being totally transparent.
Yes. Who knew there were strings attached to my telling the truth? That when I tell you the truth, one of those expectations is that you don't feel anything about what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't make it hard for me, please.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree with you. This is actually kind of more closely related to what Heather and I are building with Unmasking Shame. How I typically articulate what you just said. It's like, I'm less interested in what you do, but how you go about doing it, and really the position it puts the other person in. Right? Is your honesty an attempt to get something from someone, or is your honesty an offering to someone that you know needs to know what you've done? Like in this context of betrayal and sex addiction, right? Honesty is typically tied to, I've done something that's going to cause, that I know is causing harm. Therefore, this person needs to know because they need to understand the reality they're living in. Now, honesty can take a lot of different forms about a lot of different topics, but I would kind of relate that to kind of that healthier version of honesty that you're talking about, more authentic and real. Like, I lied to you versus I messed up again. I lied and I just can't get it right. I just keep messing up. I just told you the same thing. But one of those things is I was trying to get something from you, and one was I was giving you what you deserve, which is the truth.
Yeah. What is someone trying to get in the latter part of that?
So I just did what we would call the sad puppy. So I have this really I wish I could bring him to the podcast. My dog is Ernie. He's a big Mastiff lab mix. So he's got this like chronically sad puppy eyes. He just looks sad and depressed all the time. He is not sad and depressed all the time. So he fools everyone that comes in contact with him. They are just drawn to him and they want to pet him because he's just kind of that Eeyore type.
Sure.
All right. So if I bring that kind of sad puppy energy, like what do you want to do to a sad puppy?
Oh, you want to hold it? You want to cuddle it? You want to like pet it? Yeah.
You want to take care of that thing, right? Like it's sad. So there's nothing that can be really more effective if I mess up, let's say we're friends and I did something that would harm you and I come to the table to tell you the truth, you're less likely potentially to get mad at me or let me know how you truly feel about my actions if I already look like I'm beat down and wounded. Can't kick me while I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, you might even take care of me. You're not a bad guy, Austin. It's okay. Like when my dog goes through the trash and rummages through it and he comes to me with sad puppy eyes, my first response might be, oh, Ernie, it's okay, big guy. Right. And all is forgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for bringing those sad eyes. Now I can't harm you. Right. It's treating you as the threat. And so you don't want to be a threat to me. And so you might take care of me. And there's a lot of different ways that I think that I would call that weaponizing shame, that shame gets weaponized in relationships that impacts transparency or honesty, right? Versus me coming to the table and saying, hey, I need to get honest with you. I did something. I was wrong. I did something that harmed you. I don't know how it harmed you, but I need to tell you.
It's owning it. Owning the hurt that you might have caused someone else.
Yeah. Without fluffing it up, right? Without dressing it up or dressing it down. Like, what would it look like if you just said what you did and then stopped talking? Well, that's really hard.
Mm-hmm. Do
But
you
it's
work
kind
with
of like it's essentially kind of like the lowest common denominator of what it means to be in a relationship. Like if I'm in a committed relationship, honesty is not something I get a medal for if I'm honest. Like let's not throw me a parade because I was honest with you. Let's maybe just expect that. Honesty seems like a realistic expectation in relationships.
yeah. How are people talking about that? I'm wondering, honesty feels like a realistic expectation because I talk with friends and we, in the dating world, people talk about, what people see on dating apps, right? And so many times it'll be like, I go crazy for, and someone will say honesty. Or like the hallmark of a good relationship, honesty. First off, if you have to say that, I'm skeptical if you have to say that, right? If you have to be so blunt about it, then does that mean it's not built? Does that mean that you're just like feeling people out? Like, what is happening there? We think of it as obviously that is such a
Mhm.
foundational point in a relationship. Yet there are other things happening where that's not the case.
Yeah, I'm kind of conceptualizing in my head what a potential client that would be for me, and this why are we projecting this image of honesty? Like just be honest. Like we don't have to sell it if it exists, right?
Right.
If something is true about you, you usually don't have to sell it to other people that it's true.
Yes. Yes. Like the
Like
person
if I,
going like, I would never cheat. I would never cheat. Like I have to sell that to you that I would never do that. Yeah.
yeah, and then I'd be like, well, why are we even talking about that if it would never happen? Why is it even on the table, right? Like just allow what's true to exist and let that be enough for you, right? Um, Everyone is dishonest too. Let's be honest with ourselves. Like we all have participated in lying and hiding and dishonesty in our lives. It's not like we all are immune to it. I think with a lot of the clients that I work with, it's become so pathological, it's become so compulsive and automatic that the damage that that can do in relationships in the absence of any repair work is so challenging and insurmountable. But then when they get caught, their first instinct is, how can I go through this process of change while protecting myself at all costs still? They're still wanting to protect themselves. So they'll participate in kind of veiled honesty or weaponized honesty in an attempt to diffuse their partner. It's really not about their partner. It's like what you were talking about. I was honest, therefore you can't be mad at me. I'm doing what you asked.
Right.
And what I remind clients is they're not mad that you're being honest. They're mad and hurt because of what you've done to them. Your honesty isn't the issue. Your actions are the issue. The choices that you are making are the issue, not your honesty. Let's not conflate the two. Your honesty was actually the one kind thing that you've done. Your actions are continuing to cause harm.
Hmm. I want you to see me for my intentions. If my
Oh,
intention is to harm you, I want you to see me for my intentions rather than see me for the hurt that I might have caused you.
yeah, I'm really glad you said that word intentions. There's nothing that'll get me more fired up than a client trying to let me know what their intentions are. And this isn't a rule in my office, but I do let clients know like this office is not for your intentions. They don't matter right now. We're going to take a break from those. We might come back to them, but for a little bit, we're going to take a break from them because my gut tells me that you're more interested in people seeing your intention than really you seeing how much you're impacting people.
Mm. Did it them seeing like their own cognitive dissonance and how they see themselves versus how they're acting, or like how they might be misaligned with what they truly want to be, which is like love, seen as a good person, and all these things. And how do I combine that with the hurt I might be causing someone else?
Yeah, they want them to fit nicely together, and unfortunately, they don't.
Yeah.
And I think that's an uncomfortable part of the work that I do. We're not going to sit here and try to make you feel better. Unfortunately, like that's I tell my clients, this isn't nookie blanky therapy. You you are in the wrong space if you're wanting to feel better right now. Like we have to step into the muck and the mud first so that you can celebrate your victories of change later. Like you can't have it both ways. So we start with what you're doing. Because if let's say I have a client in front of me who's this Mr. Intention guy, and I said, look, let's just list all of your behaviors and judge this man based on his actions, not his intentions. What would we assume about his intentions if we only looked at his behaviors? We might assume that there's a part of him that's kind of a bad guy, actually, that's mean and nasty and doesn't care about other people. Would we say this guy is loving? Probably not. Now, these are uncomfortable conversations because what a client might hear is like, well, you're saying I'm a bad guy. No, I'm saying you've behaved like one for sure. I'm not sure if you are or not yet, but that's definitely a perspective you're not willing to entertain. What might happen if you acknowledge, like, man, the way I've been treating you is bad. This is a bad dude right here.
Man, how is it having those conversations with people?
It depends on the person, right? Like I like to talk about, like, I have clients who like cling tightly, and then I have clients who kind of hold things more with open hands. And I think it is a buildup. Like, I probably would never lead in that first session with you're a bad guy and let's talk about how bad you are.
Yeah.
There is a buildup to that, and I think that's more of just growth as a therapist and kind of reading and feeling what's going on in the room, and when that time is right, when they've maybe softened and had some tender moments where you can start to engage in that conversation a little bit differently. But what I can tell you is I do have a lot of clients that don't want to let go of curating and projecting an image of goodness at the expense of their partner and really seeing the harm that they've caused, right? Like, because that's what it has to take. Like, in order to fuel that image management, you need resources to do that. And one of those resources is ignoring the harm and impact that you've created in your life.
Yeah. I'm imagining you work with a lot of men.
Predominantly. So I work exclusively with men individually. I do more like group style work with betrayed partners. I'll come in. I don't have any like betrayed partner clients or female clients. I do work exclusively with men, but do have some touch points with some of the partners though.
Okay. Okay. So then do you do individual and couple work too?
I don't, that's not, I do individual work. I do a lot of them, my couples work in collaboration with other therapists. So I find that the collaboration between those kind of two systems really facilitates a lot of helpful momentum. I don't do any couples work exclusively. I always will invite a partner in. So one of my requirements for all of my clients is within the first 3 sessions, they extend an invitation to their partner to join us.
Okay.
Um, One, because like my work isn't going to be effective unless I allow that voice to help inform some of the reality. Because again, like when you work with people who struggle with compulsive behaviors, they're selling you a story. Their partners are not selling you a story. They're telling you how they feel and what it feels like. And it's super helpful data.
Right.
And so I incorporate that as much as I can. With a lot of the work with Unmasking Shame, that's more couples focused, but it's also more experiential. It's not necessarily like that traditional sit down in an office therapy. So some of it is group, some of it is workshop, those types of things.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Which I want to talk about more in a second because
Yeah.
I like love what you guys are building. When you are working, so when you're working with men, what are their what they're coming in with like they're maybe betrayed, they might have like sex addiction. How do they describe sex addiction? What is it like for them? Like what are like kind of the inner workings of kind of like the psyche that you're seeing in working with men in this way?
What I would say is most of the ways in which they describe it is similar to what you probably would get with substance use. I keep doing this thing and I can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
What's different, I think, about this population in particular is the addiction almost gets weaponized in a way where they get to point to it. Like, here's this thing that's happening to me. I have this disease. Therefore, I'm not totally fully responsible for it. Something kind of was given to me that I didn't want. I don't want this right there. So there's a lot of kind of this kind of pleading their case as to, hey, this is what I'm doing, but also know, like, I didn't choose this. I can't stop. I'm out. It's not within my grasp to stop. And so that's more of what I get is I'm doing these things. I can't stop looking at pornography. I can't stop cheating on my wife. I can't stop hiring prostitutes. I can't stop fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
There is a population of people who are really resistant to the addiction label. I actually don't really care what you call it. I'm not married to the addiction label by any means. And that would be a fun conversation to have as well. I have a bone to pick with that word as well. But um, there are individuals that might not be addicts, but want to be one actually, where they fall more into that predatory harm, like they're causing some more physical harm, or they're crossing boundaries in a way that is either criminal, um, or physically or sexually harmful to others. That's not a type of population that I will work with, so I'll refer that out. So that's a lot of what I evaluate on the front end as well.
Gotcha. Tell me about your bone to pick with the addiction label, because I've had thoughts on this, but like,
Mhm.
what?
I think you hear a lot of this more out of like a 12-step environment where addiction becomes that phrase and that kind of framework becomes, it's so helpful early in the journey, right? Like you kind of get welcomed into this community. And again, I'm talking about these things because they are beautiful. You get welcomed into a community, you find friendships and relationships of people who are struggling in similar ways, and a lot of healing can exist in that. However, the addiction just becomes this kind of crutch. It's like when you learn to walk and you're like, and you start to heal, I do think there's comes a time where that crutch needs to go away. And if
Mhm.
it doesn't, you kind of start to live in this glass box of recovery, and you limit your ability to grow and change. Because at some point when you actually change, I do believe healing is possible. And I think that addiction label for people who maybe have done a lot of work and change, those that cling still really tightly to it don't want to get to another level of change, which means, all right, instead of saying like I'm a sex addict, what would it look like if you said I cheated on my wife compulsively and caused a ton of pain in my life?
Mhm.
Those
Right.
are I'm saying the same thing, right? Kind of.
Absolutely. I hear it so differently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it is different, right? But like my
So
clients would be
different.
like, well, I would say that. It's just maybe it's easier to say I'm an addict or I am an addict. And once an addict, always an addict. And I'm kind of like, I don't think that was the intended purpose. I find like diagnoses as a way of helpful in pineapple here. Um, I think those labels are helpful tools in understanding, not defining.
Right.
And I think addiction has become a label that isn't used as much anymore to understand things. It's used to define things, and then it becomes an identity when I don't really think that's actually helpful. It can
Yeah.
be a helpful guide to get to where you need to be for help. It can be a helpful way of understanding behaviors and actions and choices. At no point do I think it needs to become your identity.
It's become a pathology. And I
Yeah.
think that in sort of like how you're talking about, like when shame keeps us stuck, I think that the like whole addict part and going like, well, I'm an addict, and like grasping onto that, because in some ways, like you're saying, like it can be, it justifies the behavior. Or even sometimes I think in the language of parts work, that was the victim part of me doing that. That wasn't like
Yeah.
self doing that, right? Like it's like even like I think that there is this way where it feels like it manages a sense of self instead of again like kind of like owning the behavior. And I remember hearing this like, and I know that there are sex addiction treatment centers, but even like if we're taking this into the DSM, or like, an ACM criteria is like you have two drinks, 6 nights a week or whatever it might be, right? To like meet like the addiction criteria. There isn't like an amount of times that you cheat, or isn't an amount of times that you use porn to like there isn't like a DSM, hey, this is when you hit sex addiction. It's more of an internal, like it for yourself. And I think that that's true, like a lot of addiction, but like it's, I think that it too almost has this idea of like, well, because I'm not doing it 4 times a week, I'm only doing it twice a week. Am I? Am I an addict? Like, like I think that it can also be kind of like justified in the quantitative sense too.
Oh, for sure. And then all the cliches follow: progress, not perfection. Everybody relapses. Relapse
One,
is a part of recovery. And again, it becomes this tool to make more excuses. And then we're just doing the things that you've been doing since you got here. Like, how about we just talk about what you're doing and how it's causing harm? Let's simplify this. Let's make it way easier. What did you do? And who did you do it to? Like, it's not rocket science.
well, it's almost like what you teach kids, right? And it's like, what
Mm-hmm.
happened? Who'd you do it to? Who did you hit? Like, let's talk about that. Why'd you do it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And let's not just say I'm sorry. Let's acknowledge that what you did was wrong and it was harmful. Let's not
Mhm.
try to get forgiveness. Let's try to acknowledge that I see that I caused you pain and what I did
Mhm.
was wrong. I'm so sorry for what I did. That's way more about me than it is about you. I was wrong to do that to you. That was wrong of me.
It feels different even as you're saying it. Like, I actually, like, feel that so differently. I
Because
think
it is.
it is so
Yeah.
different. Like, it's kinda like, in the addiction space too, it's very self-focused, whereas
Mm.
I think recovery is relationally focused. Like, when we think of, like, again, kinda like the 12-step sort of framework to this, it's like you're going to meetings, you have a sponsor, you gotta focus in on yourself and your recovery because that's gonna be the baseline for how you live. And like you're saying, like, that is, like, the first step because that is, like, I have to gain the insight for to myself on why I did what I did. But to then, like, get stuck there is still, like, very as much of a self-oriented process. Thinking relationally is exact and being relational is exactly how you're describing it. It's exactly what you're saying. Like, I was wrong to do that to you. I'm an addict, I'm always an addict, and I know that I have to work on these things and my character flaws.
Oh
The
gosh.
like, those 2 things are different. Yeah.
You're saying all the buzzwords that just make me cringe. It's my character defects.
Yeah, exactly. My character defects. I can't help it. It's my firefighter part, you know?
Yeah, it's not me doing. Don't look at me. Look
Mhm.
over here.
Right.
And I agree. Like the relational piece, like this work that I do, and I do a lot with Heather. It is rooted in the idea that our actions impact people. So yes, you have to make some changes, and you have to put yourself in spaces where healing is possible. That can't come at the expense of ignoring the impact that your actions and choices have on people, even positive ones. Like we either you think about other people when you make choices or you don't.
Mhm.
Again, like I'm all about this keep it simple, stupid method. Like I don't want to overcomplicate it for people. It's like there's nothing more simple than just saying, here's what I did, here's who it harmed.
What are the challenges in it? Because it's simple, not easy. What makes it not easy?
Well, the other side of this, which is everybody that I sit across from does have a history. They do have pain. And so what I think makes it really difficult is gaining their trust to know at some point we will get there. It's just not right now. We have to create room in order for that healing to take place. And that healing can't take place as long as this bozo is showing up all the time. Like, I'm sorry, like he ain't going to help us. So like this card, we got to really reshape this part
Mm.
um, that's harming people because that's what's running the show right now. And so I think that's probably the hardest piece is it requires letting go of outcomes that people don't want to let go of. And a lot of a big one of those outcomes is potentially entertaining the idea that you may have broken your relationship beyond repair. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Like you're not entitled to your spouse or partner staying with you. That's not something you're entitled to. Their commitment to you is informed by all this lies and secrets that you've told and have now become exposed. Like you're not entitled to anything, man.
Is that entitlement an extension of, do I see myself as a lovable person? And if my spouse doesn't forgive me for what I did, then I'm not a lovable person. And that these things, I can't square this circle.
Yeah.
In
So
this,
what you're describing there is somebody whose value system is based on the way in which they think others see them, which isn't a value system. That's dependence. That's putting the other person in a position of being a parent, not a partner. And
Mhm.
there is nothing that is more unsexy than being put in a parent role with your partner. I'm sorry. Like there's
Right.
nothing sexy about that. It is not
Right.
sexy.
It's the number one thing that'll squash desire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to have healthy, awesome, romantic, beautiful sex? Show up like an adult. Take responsibility and ownership. That's sexy.
Mhm.
Like that is a sexy person who does those things. Like you can be desirable if you are honest, you admit when you're wrong, you acknowledge the pain that you've caused, and you don't make everything about taking care of you and getting all your needs met.
So if I'm gonna let's play this out. So if a client then says to you, but Austin, I need sex. I need it. Like, I don't know what, like, I'm a man, testosterone, whatever is going on with me inherently, like, I just need it.
What happens if you don't get it?
I don't feel good about myself.
Why is that your wife's job to make you feel good about yourself?
Isn't she supposed to love me?
Well, we're not talking about love. You said you want to feel good about yourself. Why is that her job to make you feel good about yourself?
Because she loves me by making me feel good.
Oh, so sex is all about you feeling good.
I mean, yeah, it's about her too, but, it does a lot for me mentally and emotionally.
Oh, I must have missed that part where you made it all about her, but maybe I'm not listening well. Um, right. Like this is kind of that game you have to entertain and play when and just give it back. Right. Another thing that I'll tell clients is, I needs is another one of my buzzwords. When I think of needs, that's a strong statement, right? Because really what I hear you saying is if I don't get this, I will die.
Mhm.
And we're not kids anymore. Kids need physical touch. Kids need attunement. They need affirmation in order to develop, to become an adult. They need
Mhm.
those things in those developmental stages. When you become an adult, I don't know if you need them as much as you desire them and you know that they're a product of healthy dynamics.
Right.
But if I'm an adult and I don't get sex, I'm not going to explode and die.
Mhm.
I've had this one. Well, it's good for your prostate. Okay, next. We're not going down that road. Like,
It's my testosterone, it's my high libido,
yeah,
it's
I have a
like,
high sex drive. Sure, sure.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I said, well, you have an interesting way of not worrying about all the harm you're doing in order to serve your high sex drive.
Yeah.
Right? Like again, we come back to the behaviors and the harm, and then it becomes hard to have that conversation. Like that conversation is possible if we ignore a lot.
Mm.
And then I'll remind my clients, you pay me way too much money for me to ignore things. Like this is what you signed up for is to help you see the things you can't see. And right now, all you're seeing is that you want to masturbate inside of your wife. And I don't think she's consented to being that tool for you. So
Yeah.
unless you're having a transparent conversation about what that dynamic is and your wife is agreeing to doing that, then I don't want to talk about it anymore because I have a hunch that she's not going to agree to be a masturbation tool.
Yeah, and what I sometimes hear is, "Well, he's so grumpy, then I have to deal with it, that I just bite the bullet because I can't stand when he's not okay."
For sure,
Like,
right? So now you're getting
yeah.
into this aspect of how addicts train their partners,
Right, right.
right? They weaponize their shame and they say, "Here, take this." And what options do they have? A miserable, pissed off, grumpy dude, or what if I just did this and then life will be okay? I don't blame them. It's not a healthy thing to do, and it's a product of how they're being manipulated and trained into stepping into that role of caretaking, not being a partner.
Right, right.
I see it a
What
lot with parents where I hear that comment more with wives or betrayed partners who will say that exact same thing. They'll say, I'll take on his shame. I'll deal with it. I will kind of run cover for him because I don't want his wrath to get in front of the kids. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually had this happen recently at one of our unmasking shame workshops. And the spouse said, she's like, she essentially said the same thing as what you just articulated. I want to protect my kids from my husband's anger.
Oh,
And I asked her, I said, are you okay? I said, my response is going to hit something in you. Are you comfortable if we move into that uncomfortable place? And she said, for sure, go for it. And I told her, I said, you and your husband, how you navigate with each other is your children's model for love. So that dynamic that you're describing that's protecting him is actually informing them what love is.
how did that land?
Just like it did there, right? There's this silence and just almost like, oh shit.
Mhm.
And then she goes, so I'm teaching them that it's their job to take care of others and not pay attention to themselves. I said, that's exactly what you're teaching them. Ignore your needs, ignore your safety, ignore your emotional experience in service of somebody who's really dysfunctional.
Mhm.
I said, I don't think that's what you thought about when you made that decision. And it's something you need to think about.
And what do you think it takes for these changes to start to happen?
Unfortunately, in my experience, what it takes is significant pain and consequences. I wish that wasn't the case. I really do. I don't know if that's always going to be the case, but somehow that is really like the only way that people seemingly get to the table
Right.
is it gets so bad that the harm it can't be ignored anymore. Um, so I think that's what gets them there. In order for change, though, the biggest piece for me is community, like really safe, structured, firm, accountable community for both parties, actually. The work is different for a betrayed partner than it is for an addict. A lot of what they're dealing with is very directly a traumatic response. Um, they were living a reality and in one moment realized that their entire life was a lie. Like that's extremely dysregulating and disrupting. And so there's a lot of different work that they're gonna need to navigate through. But a part of that is their ability to experience safety hinges a lot on their partner changing. And if their partner doesn't change, then they may need to figure out if that is a relationship that they're willing to engage in and participate in more. And unfortunately, that's a common thing where partners say, like, I can't keep waiting for you to change.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The community piece, because the unmasking shame workshops and things that you're
Yeah.
doing. How is this? First off, I love this because I think that like you're saying, like it happens in community, it happens in a sense of belonging. It's like it sounds like a very experiential. I mean, it is very experiential, but
Yeah.
it's like going through exposure therapy too while being in community with others. And I can imagine how healing that can be while maybe presenting some of its own challenges. So
Yeah.
wondering how it is, how it's going, what's it all like?
It has been really affirming up to this point. A lot of what we've done has felt or been designed as more kind of testing the concept and the idea. And every time we do something, it, it just kind of sits in you. It's like, oh my gosh, this is we're going in the right direction. So it's just so fun. Like I have so much fun doing it.
Mhm.
Um, and I think a big piece of it is it's designed to get individuals to a point where like they get to heal in relationships with others, right? It's not just a one-on-one individual with a therapist. Like tonight is our first night of our 12-month couples group, our Unmasking Shame couples group. So we're running an in-person group that's going to meet once a month over the course of the next year. And tonight is the first night of that. I'm like so freaking jazzed about it. Um, because like these 6 couples have made a decision to step into something that they don't know, trusting in Heather and I and our work that it's going to be something that can offer them an opportunity to heal in a way that maybe they haven't been able to up to this point.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like just people who are willing, that willingness is a significant component. And then a willingness to walk into a room with complete strangers, knowing that we're going to be talking about things or talking about subjects or topics or parts of themselves or the walls that they put up. Like they're going to be exposed by choice. Like they're choosing to expose themselves in the presence of other people because there's some part of them that knows this is what they need and they have never experienced it. So it's both foreign and novel, but also something they're choosing and moving towards intentionally. Um, it's really exciting and encouraging. Like I'm so jazzed about it and whatever it'll become. Heather's definitely more of like the idea person. She's got so many ideas. I'm always like, I don't know how her brain operates that way. I am always more excited, like, hey, we're doing something that we set out to do, and today we get to actually start doing some of the work, and that's just, I think, why we work really well together in part, and we share a lot of the same vision and values around how this work can be effective. I also love the fact that like there's a mysterious kind of mystic aspect to this work where it's like we could plan and tell people what to do and how to do it. That's just not our style. It's like, why don't we all just get in a room and see what happens
Right.
and see what kind of magic can be created from just putting ourselves in an environment that we know is conducive to healing, and then let go of control and see and just wait.
Which I think is the beauty of group work.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of relational work, but groups in particular, it's like you're getting to see other people connect in this really deep way when it's like I've been holding on to my own experience and living in my own story, maybe alone for so long that now I'm getting to connect with other people who've experienced something similar that's been just as devastating and traumatic in their lives as it has been in
Mhm.
mine. I'm getting to hear their perspectives. I'm getting to hear the betrayed partner's perspective or the betrayer like perspective of another person. Like it's all. I mean, like, look, would love to be a fly on the wall because I think I
Yeah.
think it's all just like again that mystery, that fascination piece behind it definitely draws people in.
Oh, I love that. I think I've asked this question. I wrote about it today. Like, what if my pain, the pain that I carry, the pain that I've caused other people, what if that was the thing that got me to where I need to heal? Like, what if that was the thing that connected me with my people, with my tribe? Like, what if my worst moments were the breeding ground for my best moments?
Right.
And I think that's what it's an opportunity for when you step into group work. Is yeah, you're connecting people who share a lot of pain and heartbreak and heartache, and it doesn't stay there. It morphs, it takes a different shape. And
Hmm.
I just think it doesn't mean you have to ignore it or forget it. It just takes a new shape. And I think that's what's really beautiful about it is like, it doesn't mean you have to let go of the past. It just gets to grow into something different if you allow it and let go of some things along the way. Um, in this group being a couples group, like how cool and incredibly powerful it might be for a betrayed partner to sit in a room with a bunch of other addict dudes, right? And experience them differently and see different things, right? And vice versa. What is it like for an addict dude to sit in a room with a bunch of betrayed partners and experience them differently and experience different parts and things like that show up, like how healing that can be. Heck,
For
maybe
sure.
you might even find some friends in there. Like, how that's kind of a wild way to meet new people that are your friends is through these really kind of effed up stories that are really icky and problematic. And now all of a sudden you've got new relationships that are really fruitful. Like it's kind of a cool possibility.
Right. Like if you're engaging in this kind of work, I can imagine that you're going to value some sort of growth in your life. You're going to value like taking on challenges, and it'll be interesting to see like what kind of relationships form just from being in that kind of group. Like I think like this is not the same at all, but I think about this with runners because I'm like you're all enduring something that's really hard together, and there is
Yes.
something that's like you keep coming back to it and you keep going through it, and it's like, yep, we're just going to keep on keeping on. And this, like, that's a physical way of doing it. This is a way deeper emotional way of doing it.
Well, and I think it allows and affords you create an environment for people to help you celebrate your victories too, which I think is something that's really challenging for people. I was just watching the Stanley Cup Finals, so I watched the championship game. I love watching the end. Like I love watching these adult men
Mhm.
hug each other, cry with each other, like just fall into each other's arms, like the experiences of the coaches and how they articulate what like it's just so cool to see all these dynamics of like you accomplished the most difficult thing in your sport and all you want to do in that moment is celebrate with each other,
Yeah,
and then you get to help each other in that celebration because you know what you've all endured. You've been with each other in those trenches. Like it's such a beautiful experience, and you get to see that. And then the devastation on the other side of like how painful and how like much you can grieve when you don't get to accomplish and achieve. Like you get to share in that with others. And I don't know any other way to do it except within relationships. Like there's so much fruit that comes out of walking alongside of others because they get to celebrate with you in your joys and sit with you in the lows and the lulls, right? Like you need that. You need people on either side of that spectrum.
for sure. Yeah. And look, I'm in Raleigh, so the Stanley Cup is like very much alive, you know?
I forgot about that. How exciting.
Yeah.
I was so pumped when
Yeah.
they won. My son
Oh
was
my
asking
God.
me, he's like, who are we cheering for? I was like, we're cheering for Carolina, man. I'm like, no doubt. Like, God, so I like they're
Right.
just like they're a team built. They've got a few studs, but like they're a team built of B players essentially. And like
Yeah.
what a what a model to build a team on. I love their team and I love Jordan Stahl, and I was so pumped to see him win the Conn Smythe. Like there's this old dude that's been in the league forever, just dominating. It was awesome.
It's so cool. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
like Ron Brendamore, I'm like 20 years ago, he won it on his team. And now he's the coach and now he's winning it again. Like 20
yeah,
years later. It's just like it's such a cool story. But like you're
it
saying, like
was.
that like team aspect, that symbiotic relationship that like that you're watching this all unfold. And I think, hockey romances too have been on the up and up right now.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people have been saying is that the male vulnerability aspect in what's being portrayed on TV right now is the thing that's drawing people in. And
Mm-hmm.
that because it feels genuine, it feels masculine, it feels real, it feels like that there is like, you're watching it, whether it, of course we're talking about hockey, so
Yeah.
there's an aspect to it, there's like the romantic aspects to it, like there's so many aspects to it that I think people are finding it refreshing in a very genuine way, and it's like kind of changing the script. Like, so
Yes.
I know that like, shame and vulnerability, go hand in hand, right? Brene Brown, the OG researcher in all this, right? And
Yep.
it's like the vulnerability piece for men. What do you think are some of the misguided advice for men in culture right now that like maybe is like, that's like sure, a guy could share his feelings with you, but like that's maybe not like always the best way to go about it, or like that is like how can we flip it to make it more pragmatic, to make it more realistic, to make it more grounded in like reality versus maybe what some of like the cultures say like this is what male vulnerability is and he should be crying is.
Yeah, because I think that's probably one of the most unhelpful ways to describe vulnerability is that it just means, I'm sitting there and crying my eyes out.
Right.
Right. Like I heard Rob Brendamore talking about his team after the win and just how earnestly he was describing like how much he wanted this for those guys.
Yep.
Like he didn't say I care about these guys a lot. He said I just wanted this so bad for them. Right? He was saying I cared for them, but in his way. Like it was just being honest. Like he was letting everybody know like I care so deeply about these guys. I've had this and I wanted what I've had. I wanted what I got for them. I wanted
Yep.
them to experience that
Yeah.
so bad. Like it's just more raw, I think, sometimes with more of your kind of traditional masculine guys, like when they allow themselves to just be more raw and unfiltered and allow this part of them that does care about something, that does care about others to show up. That's sexy. Like being honest is sexy. Caring about people is sexy. You don't have to, you know, cry and be sad all the time or, just use all these cool, trendy feeling words. Like you can say, like, I wanted this so bad for these dudes.
Yeah,
Like,
because that in itself is vulnerable. Wanting
yeah,
anything is vulnerable. But yeah,
yes.
it exposes something about yourself for sure.
Yeah. And I do think like those are the moments where you have this like the highest of highs, their guards are already they're down, right? That there's nothing but raw that they're experiencing. And so they let their guard down and you get to see that. And so I do think this kind of introduction of like behind the scenes, podcasting things, like all these athletes who have podcasts, they're allowing people to see more of them. And so I do think there is a lot more vulnerability than people give credit for. Like I don't necessarily believe like it's all this like, oh, guys just keep everything tucked to themselves. It's like maybe how they show it might be a little bit different more traditionally than women do, or vice versa. However, there's just a lot more access to people. Um, and I do think that that helps reshape the narrative, because you get to see different sides of these people that maybe you idolize or look up to, and that maybe gives you permission to say, hey, maybe I can do a little bit of that too.
Sure, sure. Because I also think like kind of like in thinking about the men that you might be working with, it's like, hey, here's someone that's doing it in a very practical way that could be something that you emulate. Like Rod Brindamore saying, I want this for my team is not dissimilar from you saying, like, I want this for my family. I want this for our
Yes.
relationship. I want this
Yes.
for my wife. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. To just actually genuinely express your care for somebody else is extremely vulnerable. Like that is a very real thing. And I do think, a lot of my clients, the difficult part of them that they're trying to reconcile is they've said they've cared so much, yet their actions have shown the opposite. And so there
Right.
does kind of need to be a death to that kind of game that's been played because it's going to take a new shape. You might still say I care, but like you were talking about, it's going to be felt and received a lot differently.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to be that you're living two sides of you anymore.
No, no, one's going to exist and it's going to be felt and experienced in such a different way. And you're not going to have to convince anybody that you care.
Right. You don't have to justify it, minimize it.
No, yeah, you're not going to say I care. Just know that I care. It's like it's a weird thing to say in general. Like you're kind of demanding that I know something, even though my body is telling me this doesn't fit and this doesn't feel right. Or yeah, it's
Mhm.
interesting, but yeah, people will know, and I think that's a hard thing I think to describe. Is there's a more felt sense. Change is more felt than it is expressed verbally. Like you kind of experience it in your body and then you kind of trust that that's showing up and your words may sound the same as they used to. It's just the experience is felt so much differently, both by you and by the people that you're with, and that usually becomes a different compass that's a little bit more helpful at just getting people in tune with their bodies and to feel versus look to others and how they're reacting to them as a guide is challenging.
For sure. It is because I think that sometimes what we want isn't what's happening. Like I even think about this maybe for like a betrayed partner where it's I want to trust you, I want to love you, I want to be here for you. And I'm trying to justify my feelings around her, around betrayed, around like just the overall disgust I might have for you.
Yeah.
And that I'm trying to square that circle too. So in some
Yeah.
ways, I'm trying to manage how I'm actually feeling to try and be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a like what a dilemma to care so deeply about someone yet be so hurt by them. Like what a difficult thing to have to navigate. Um, I share this with my clients a lot. I have my own story and I'll share certain aspects of that. But I remember a moment I had with my wife where I became acutely aware that I'll never be able to give her the gift of fully understanding what I put her through because I know she would never do the same to me. And just how much she's chosen to accept that to stay in relationship, like what a thing to have to overcome, but also like a reality check of like I'll never know what you went through the way that you know it because I know you would never do that to me. Like I have that sense of knowing about her, like she's never going to do this.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm never going to be able to truly fully understand what it is like for her to have been betrayed in that way.
Right.
And I think for a lot of guys, they're so desperate to try to prove to their partners that they can relate and they can understand because they're afraid to admit that they don't. They know that they've harmed them, but they have no freaking clue what it's done to them. They just want to get to the finish line of, I understand completely. I know everything that you're going through. I am the super empathetic, perfect husband now. And it's like, let's back that train up. Like, it's okay to say you don't know. Because out of that, I don't know what you're going through can be a conversation about what's that like for you to be married to somebody who doesn't understand you.
Right. That it's in a way it's love taking a different shape and form. I think that
Yeah.
we think of love, we think of similarities, we think of like how we're in this together, and that it's actually honoring the differences. There is
Yeah.
a difference that's here and that's going to stand between us.
Yeah.
And that then leaves us to more of a curiosity about one another, about how each
Yeah.
other operate, about what this is like for you. And my not knowing is empathy.
100%. It's an acknowledgement of your reality. You live with somebody who doesn't fully understand or know exactly what you're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so deep. So, so deep.
Yeah. I love it though. It's fun stuff.
It is. Where can people find you?
So my private practice is Phase Zero Recovery. So you can go to my website, phasezerorecovery.com. I also have my own YouTube page. It's Austin Hatch in Recovery. I do like really short videos of stuff that I'm like super hot and passionate about. Like when I say hot, like kind of pissed off about, I'll be like, I'm just going to record a video and capture my pissed offness about this specific topic. So actually, I did one today on embracing that you're a bad dude. So you can find my anger provoking videos. Um, and then elsewhere is unmaskingshame.com. So like we chatted about, Heather, Heidi, and myself, we started Unmasking Shame, and there's going to be a few, I mean, there's going to be a lot of other things that come out of there, but unmaskingshame.com is a good resource. And we are going to be doing a virtual couples group coming up that are for people who don't live in our area, and a lot of other options and products that will create some more access to this different way of treating and dealing with the big bad ugly shame word.
Love it.
Yeah.
Wow. And we'll link to all that in the show notes too.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, until next time, everyone, stay connected, stay
Yes, please.
caffeinated. Yes, stay caffeinated. Drink Larry's coffee. Link is in the show notes. Yeah, love Larry's local coffee shop, roastery, sponsor the podcast. So be sure to grab a bag of fresh coffee. And until next time, everyone, stay connected. And thank you, Austin.
Thank you.